Ever wondered how to whip up a sponge-like cake without eggs and an oven? Well, let's unveil the simple ingredients that will help us achieve just that. First, we'll need 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, the foundation of our cake. Next, we have 1 cup of yogurt, which will give our cake that moist, soft texture we all love. To sweeten things up, we need 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Then, to ensure our cake rises beautifully, we'll use 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1¼ teaspoons of baking powder. We'll also need 1/2 cup of a neutral oil, like canola or vegetable, to keep our cake moist and fluffy. Lastly, we're adding in a teaspoon of vanilla extract to infuse our cake with that irresistible aroma. These everyday items are probably already in your kitchen, waiting to transform into a delightful treat. Now that we have our ingredients ready, it's time to move on to the next step. Ready to mix things up? Let's prepare our cake batter. Our first step in this culinary adventure is to combine some tangy yogurt and sugar in a bowl. Now, this isn't just any random mixing. We want to ensure that the sugar is completely dissolved into the yogurt. So, stir it well, be patient, and watch as the sugar disappears and becomes one with the yogurt. Next up, it's time to introduce our rising stars, baking soda and baking powder, into the mix. Sprinkle them in, give it a gentle stir, and then set the mixture aside for about 5 minutes. While we wait, you'll notice something magical happening. Our mixture will start to froth, bubbling up as the baking soda and baking powder get to work. It's chemistry in action, right in your kitchen. Once we've marveled at the frothiness of our mixture, it's time to add some more flavors into the mix. Gently pour in some oil. This will give our cake a soft, moist texture. Follow this with a dash of vanilla extract for that sweet, aromatic flavor that's synonymous with a good cake. Now for our final act, we're going to fold in the flour. This is where we need to be extra careful. We want to add the flour gradually, ensuring each addition is well incorporated before adding the next. This will help us avoid any lumps and create a smooth, even batter. Remember, with each fold, you're not just mixing ingredients, you're also incorporating air into the batter. And it's this air that will give our cake its light, spongy texture. And voila! Our batter is ready to be transformed into a fluffy, eggless sponge cake. Let's move on to the cooking process. No oven, no problem. We're cooking this cake with a pot and a stovetop. It might sound a bit unconventional, but trust me, it's a game changer. You don't need a fancy oven to whip up a delightful spongy cake. All you need is a little creativity and a dash of patience. Let's get down to business. You're going to need a large pot with a lid. Start by preheating this pot on the stovetop for about 10 minutes. The trick here is to create an environment similar to that of an oven, but in a pot. The preheating is essential as it ensures even cooking and helps the cake rise beautifully. While the pot is getting all heated up, grab your cake batter. Make sure it's well mixed and ready to go. Pour this batter into a greased cake tin. Now this is the exciting part. With a lot of care and a steady hand, place the cake tin into the preheated pot. You can use a pair of tongs or a spatula to help you with this. We don't want any batter spilling over. Once your cake is happily sitting in the pot, it's time to cover it with the lid. You're creating a mini oven right on your stovetop. The lid traps the heat inside, allowing the cake to cook evenly. Keep the heat on medium. We don't want the bottom to burn while the top is still raw. Now here's the part where patience comes in. Let your cake cook for about 30 to 40 minutes. You can check the progress by inserting a toothpick into the cake. If it comes out clean, your cake is done. If not, give it a few more minutes. Voila! Your eggless, ovenless sponge cake is ready to be devoured. Enjoy this simple yet delicious treat. It just goes to show that with a bit of ingenuity, you can create mouth-watering desserts, no oven required. Happy baking, or should I say, happy stovetop cooking. Let's quickly recap our easy sponge cake recipe. We began by assembling our ingredients, then moved on to creating a smooth and fluffy batter, ensuring all elements were well incorporated. Our next step was the unique part, cooking the cake without an oven. Using a pan on the stovetop, we achieved the same sponge-like texture you'd get from a traditional oven bake. This easy and quick recipe shows that you don't need eggs or an oven to make a delectable sponge cake. Happy baking!